Secretary, the great state of Pennsylvania, the Keystone State, where America declared her independence and framed our Constitution, whose working people outproduced the world, the new Pennsylvania, which is today the partnership state and whose best days are still ahead, proudly cast 23 votes for the Reverend Jesse Jackson and proudly cast 179 votes for the next President of the United States, Governor Michael Dukakis of Massachusetts.
Current polls have Pennsylvania leaning Democratic, but both Republican and Democratic professional politicians say it's one of those states that could go either way in November.
Puerto Rico, 57 votes.
Madam Secretary,
Yes.
Puerto Rico passes.
Puerto Rico passes.
Her surprise is because Puerto Rico, while it has delegates to the convention, has no electoral vote.
28 votes.
Generally can be expected to just stand up and announce its vote.
Madam Chairperson, I am mayor of America's best city, Providence, a city that is benefiting from the Dukakis miracle, the home of our chairman of foreign relations in the Senate, Claiborne Pell, our next United States Senator, Richard Leach, and Bruce Sumlin. Our state passes.
Okay. Rhode Island passes. South Carolina, 53 votes.
Madam Secretary, South Carolinians are very proud of their educational system, their parks that extend from the Blue Ridge Mountains to the Atlantic Ocean, and for the highway system, which has 5 interstate systems included. We're also very proud of a teenage mother, frail and frightened, who said to a newborn baby, "I give you life because I have hope and aspirations. I am brave and I believe in this land of the free. We can make all mankind understand that the Almighty created us all in His image. And if we are to live together as brothers and sisters, we must respect the aspirations and the humanism of each individual." Jesse Jackson is the greatest American today, and I'm proud to call these figures. For the Reverend Jesse Jackson, the conscience of this nation, 31 votes. For the governor of Massachusetts, Dukakis, 22 votes.
South Carolina, of course, the home state, the birthplace of Jesse Jackson.
South Carolina has cast 31 votes for Jesse Jackson and 22 votes for Michael Dukakis.
South Dakota, 20 votes.
Madam Secretary, the great state of South Dakota, the 1989 Centennial State, home to Mount Rushmore and the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota, proudly casts 1 vote for the Reverend Jesse Jackson and 19 votes for the next President of the United States, Governor Michael Dukakis.
South Dakota, one of those states where farmers are having so much difficulty, and partly for that reason, a state the Democrats believe they can take in November.
The state of Tennessee, 84 votes.
Madam Secretary, Tennessee passes.
The state of Tennessee passes. Texas, 211 votes.
Madam Secretary, the great Lone Star State of Texas, the crown jewel of Super Tuesday, the home of Ann Richards, Jim Wright, and Lloyd Benson, the home of 16 million hard-working Texans and 1 tourist from Kennebunkport, Maine, at this time passes in deference to a sister state.
Passing at this time. Utah, 28 votes.
Madam Secretary, the state of Utah is proud to cast 3 votes for Reverend Jesse Jackson and 25 votes for the governor of Massachusetts, our next president, Michael Dukakis.
Utah has cast 3 votes for Jackson and 25.
Strong Republican state, and the GOP would say no way the Democrats can carry it.
Vermont, 20 votes.
Madam Secretary, the beautiful Green Mountain state of Vermont voted once in its history for a Democrat in 1964, and we're going to do it again.
Hooray!
The state of Vermont passed 9 votes proudly for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, 1 vote for Gary Hart, and 9 votes for the next President of the United States, Michael Dukakis.
Vermont has cast 9 for Jackson, 1 for Hart, 9 for Dukakis.
The state of Virginia, 86 votes.
Madam Secretary, the Commonwealth of Virginia, the place where America began, cast its votes for the next President of the United States as follows.
Madam Secretary, the Commonwealth of Virginia cast 42 votes for Michael Dukakis, 42 votes for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and 2 votes not voted.
Virginia has cast 42.
And the nomination process rolls on live and direct from the convention hall in Atlanta. The plan afoot to have California be the state that puts Michael Dukakis over the top, and once that happens, then to have Dukakis nominated by acclamation.
Madam Secretary, the great state of Washington, which celebrates its centennial in 1989, and whose union labor built the planes that flew you to Atlanta, cast 27 votes for Jesse Jackson and 50 votes for Michael Dukakis.
Washington has cast 27 for Jackson and 50 for Dukakis.
One of the few Western states the Democrats think they could definitely take. Washington State, that is.
Madam Chairman, West Virginia, almost heaven, West Virginia, passes.
West Virginia passes at this time. Wisconsin, 91.
Madam Secretary, America's Dairyland, with its deeply rooted progressive spirit, expresses our pride and gratitude to Senator Bill Proxmire for his 30 years.
The Dukakis family watching from their hotel suite here in Atlanta as the vote rolls on. Mr. and Mrs. Dukakis with their children, John, age 29, Andrea, age 22, Kara, age 19.
Madam Secretary.
Michael Dukakis with open shirt collar and his arm around his wife.
Granting women the right to vote.
The Dukakis is watching as the vote total rolls through Wyoming.
Majestic mountains and hospitable hearts
and the lowest corporate and personal income taxes in the country, proudly cast its votes as follows. 4 votes for a great American, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and 14 votes for the next President of the United States and a great American, Michael Dukakis.
Wyoming has cast 4 votes for Jesse Jackson.
Katie Dukakis still recovering from the recent surgery that she underwent for 2 herniated discs in her neck. As it nears the time when Dukakis will be going over the top, Samoa now voting.
Remind my fellow delegates here tonight that the United States is not made up of just the states and District of Columbia. It includes the territory of American Samoa, Guam, and Virgin Islands, and a Commonwealth of Puerto Rico and Northern Mariana. Now, from the most beautiful paradise of America in the South Pacific, where Polynesia began in the South Pacific ended, we cast all our votes for the governor of Massachusetts, our good friend Michael Dukakis.
American Samoa has cast 6 votes for Michael Dukakis.
Democrats abroad, 9 votes.
The Dukakis family with their friends in the hotel suite. We mentioned earlier that the Reverend Jesse Jackson sent word that he would not be coming to the hall tonight, that he thought the focus ought to be on the delegates and the vote and the party's presidential nominee.
Its territories and the Commonwealth. Citizens who fight to advance our country's economic interests around the world proudly cast 1/2 vote for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, 8 1/4 votes for the next leader of the free world and the next President of the United States, Governor Michael Dukakis.
Madam Secretary, the Democrats abroad have cast 1/2 vote for Jesse Jackson and 8 1/4 votes for Michael Dukakis.
Guam, 4 votes.
Madam Secretary, the next Commonwealth within the American political family extends its gratitude to this convention for the acknowledgement of the petition and memorial of the people of Guam for political self-determination I have sent to the chair. The document is now an official and historic part of this great democratic convention. Guam casts its total 4 votes to Governor Michael Dukakis.
Guam has cast 4 votes for Michael Dukakis.
The Virgin Islands, 5.
Madam Secretary, I am Marilyn Stapleton, State Chair of the American Paradise, the United States Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John, the only home of the first Black Democratic Governor of the United States Virgin Islands.
All right.
We proudly cast our 5 votes for the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
Part of the system, the delicate and intricate system of American checks and balances at work here at the Democratic National Convention in the nomination of a president, and it's nearing the point where California will be able to put Michael Dukakis over the top.
The state of Arkansas, 48 votes.
Madam Chairman, Winston Bryant, Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Arkansas, known as the land of opportunity, a state on the move with a bright future, has 1 abstention, cast 11 votes for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, cast 31 votes for the next President of the United States, Governor Michael Dukakis.
So that was Arkansas in the second time around. Arkansas, then California, and California's votes will put Governor Dukakis over the top. This has been the plan, and then Willie Brown of California is expected to come on and move to have the nomination be by acclamation.
The state of California with 363 votes.
Secretary.
Yes, indeed.
Madam Secretary, to announce our vote, the Golden State of California proudly introduces our outstanding Lieutenant Governor and next United States Senator from the state of California, Leo McCarthy.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
The state of California, the land of heart and hope, on November 8th, will deliver the winning margin, and tonight is proud to announce the votes recorded for two Americans it considers very unique and special. Tonight, for Jesse Jackson, 122 votes.
With Governor Dukakis, his mother, and his wife.
The nominating margin, 235 votes.
Michael Dukakis is the official nominee of the Democratic Party for President of the United States. And the governor breaking out into that big smile you saw in his hotel suite with his wife under his arm and his mother over his shoulder. And a toast. Governor Dukakis' mother, Euterpe Dukakis, is 84 years old. And when we go back to that picture away from the hall in a moment, you see how broad her smile is and why not. Governor Dukakis' mother came to the United States from Greece at the age of 9. Went on to earn her bachelor's degree from Bates College. Well, the Dukakis supporters have waited a long time for this moment. This is their night. Let's go down to the floor. Bill Plant in the California delegation. Bill?
Well, Dan, although there is absolutely no evidence recorded anywhere that putting a candidate over the top won a single vote in that state, it's obvious that this was very important to California and the people who engineered this. California, after all, is the home of Ronald Reagan. They are anxious to give Democrats a boost, and it was Willie Brown, the Speaker of the State Assembly, who engineered this. He was a co-chairman of Jesse Jackson's campaign. He, as you have noted, Dan, is about to introduce a resolution to make the nomination by acclamation. He and Leo McCarthy, who is running for the Senate and who was anxious for his moment in the limelight, combined to give California the opportunity, in a deal with the other states, to be the one to put him over the top. Now, California should be able to turn out a substantial number of new voters, blacks and Hispanics. That is the target. They take issue with the notion that they are a solidly Republican state. So it will be a very important battleground in the campaign this fall. The Dukakis campaign feels that it is one of the states that it must win, and with some reason. The big states, California, the biggest of all of them, are key to putting together a winning combination of electoral votes. Right now, though, they are very pleased with what they've just accomplished. Dan?
Bill, we want to talk about it as time goes along. There's been so much talk about the Republicans putting Governor Duke Majan of California on the ticket, but of course if they did that, that might very well make Lieutenant Governor McCarthy, the Democrat who handled this announcement of the vote tonight, in charge of redistricting in California, and so it gets, as many things in politics does, it gets very complicated. Well, as you can see from the convention hall in Atlanta, Georgia, the Dukakis celebration erupts, and in their hotel suite nearby, the candidate and his wife and the candidate's mother, along with family and friends, celebrate. At this moment, in the American tradition that is a nominating convention, a tribe of hostile Comanches ride through here and nobody would notice. Down there amongst the celebration, Bob Schieffer in the Massachusetts delegation, where tonight's hometown boy made good. Bob?
Well, Dan, you know what the story is here. This is a hometown boy makes good, and this is the center of all the attention right now of everybody here just having a real big time. What does it mean? Are you happy to have a guy from your home state?
He'll make a great president.
All right, well, that's about it, Dan, and I think if it asked every one of these people here, that's exactly the line you'd get.
Bob, I know you agree. One of the things television does best is take you there. So for just a moment, let's soak up this scene in these few seconds. And let's just transport our viewers here to Convention Hall.
Good evening to you from the Omni in Atlanta. Skip Loescher with Colleen Needles. And while there is jubilation in the suite of the Dukakis at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, there is absolute bedlam on the floor at the Omni.
The Minnesota delegation is just erupting now. They have been waving and stomping their feet and singing ever since the final vote was tallied, California putting Dukakis over the votes he needed. Let's go down now to Pat Kessler, who is in the midst of all that celebration. Pat?
It is a sea of red, white, and blue. I must tell you, we're in the center of a joyous Minnesota delegation that went for Dukakis. The vote, as you probably heard, was 57 Dukakis, 29 for Reverend Jesse Jackson, and 3 for pro-life Democratic Representative Richard Stallings of Idaho. This picture is worth 10,000 words. Just take a look at this. These are people from Minnesota, remember. Take a look a little bit. Phil, turn the camera a little bit. Let's take a look at some of these people. Now, one of the problems here is Pat Forcia. I don't think his hat is quite big enough. I think that's the problem. Pat Forcia is the Minnesota campaign director for Michael Dukakis. How are you feeling right now after all this work?
Could not feel any better at all, and I hope all the thousands of people that worked so hard for us back home for so long are having as good a time as we are here in Atlanta.
What are you going to do about the Jackson delegates? How are you feeling with Jackson right now?
Well, I think we've had a good 3 days with the Jackson folks here. I've had a series of meetings with their leadership, with some of their better field organizers. Many of them are ready to become involved now. I realize it's going to take time for some of them to become comfortable with us, but I think we're going to leave Atlanta tomorrow night in better shape than any Democratic presidential nominee has in quite some time.
Pat Forcia, congratulations. Thanks very much. We're going to talk to a couple of more delegates here. Let's grab a couple. Tell us what you're thinking about right now. Where are you from?
New Hope, Minnesota.
What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really great. It's terrific. It's the best I've felt in a long time.
Okay, we're going to move up again. Here, let me move up just a little bit. We have a pretty big crowd here. How about here? Tell me, where are you from?
St. Paul.
You're somebody from St. Paul. I don't know if you can see it in this sea of red, white, and blue. How are you feeling? What's going on right now?
This is great. This is what we've waited for over a year.
Now, is it all worth it?
You bet.
What about the Jackson delegates? How do you feel unified?
Absolutely. They've been wonderful.
We're going to find some Jackson delegates. Thanks very much. I'm going to move up a little bit. I see if you can still see me here. Jackie, come here for a moment, will you? Jackie Schweitz is here. Jackie, tell us where you're from.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Where are you from, Jackie?
I'm from Coon Rapids, Minnesota.
Jackie is one of 3 Minnesota delegates who voted for Idaho Representative Richard Stallings, a protest vote because Michael Dukakis is not pro-life. Tell us why you did that.
We were elected, 3 of us were elected as uncommitted pro-life delegates, and we had constituents out there who felt very strongly in sending us to the National Convention with a message for the delegates here that they could no longer continue to support pro-abortion candidates for national office.
Okay, well, you've got Michael Dukakis. Are you going to vote Republican in the fall? Is that what it is?
No, the idea here is that the party must nominate pro-life candidates for national office. And we voted for Richard Stallings, a congressman from Idaho, because he has a 100% pro-life voting record, and he is a Democrat.
Jackie, how will you vote in the fall, Republican or Democrat?
Well, I think that's between me and my in the voting booth.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to get a Jackson delegate. Thanks, Jackie.
Twins?
Come here a moment, will you?
How about
Come down
those
here.
twins?
Let's see if we can still see you here. Come on down now. Tell me what city you're from.
I'm from the city of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
City of Minneapolis. Now, I see you're carrying tonight a Dukakis sign. You were a Jackson delegate. You are a Jackson delegate. What are you feeling tonight?
I'm still a Jackson delegate. I'm very happy for what Jesse Jackson has done in this campaign. I think at this point in time, Governor Dukakis has won the sentiment and support from the nation, and we're here to fall behind that lead, and we think it's important that we demonstrate that unity all the way to the White House.
Okay, thanks very much for talking with us. Take care. We're going to go back up. It's a bedlam down here. We're going to go back up to Skip and Colleen.
All right, thank you, Pat. I think one thing that says it all tonight, I just looked out our window here and I saw there is a woman waving both a Jackson and a Dukakis sign tonight, a sign that there definitely is a feeling of unity in this convention hall.
You know, one of the things I have to wonder looking over the season, I've looked at a number of these, is whether or not these people are feeling so good because they really are that excited about Michael Dukakis, or whether they can smell victory, and that's always sweet. Speaking of Bedlam, Alan Cox is all the way on the other side of this convention hall where the Wisconsinites are hanging out. Alan, what's it like there?
Oh, Skip, this is just as much bedlam over here as it is at your end of the convention hall. About a quarter of the Wisconsin delegates were supporting Jackson, 10% Al Gore, the rest Dukakis, but now just about all the red Jackson signs have come down in the Wisconsin delegation. A few of them are being waved, but they're being waved in time with the music, and some of the people waving them are chanting in favor of Michael Dukakis, the party's nominee. I'm going to move over here, and I know we have a difficult crowd. You probably won't be able to see us very well, but I'm going to try to get over here to talk to the chair of the Wisconsin delegation. A quick observation. I'm not an expert on the construction of the Omni, but we're standing up here on this tier, and as that final announcement was made, I thought I was standing on concrete, but it started to bounce something like rubber with the excitement that people are having. Ms. Albrecht, I'm Alan Cox with WCCO TV, Minneapolis, St. Paul. May I just ask you, most of the Jackson signs that come down now, do you think Wisconsin Democrats are going to be able to pull together?
We absolutely will be able to pull together. We've already started that. We've had a great convention. Our state is small enough so that we know each other very well. We've worked together on many campaigns, so there's very good feelings among the Jackson people. We've worked very hard to try to make sure that happens.
Wisconsin Democratic Chair Sue Ellen Albrecht, thank you for talking with us. Back to you, Colleen and Skip.
Thank you, Alan. We're going to go back down now to Pat Kessler, who is in the midst of the Minnesota celebration that just won't stop. Pat?
Colleen, we are still here. The celebration is still going on for Michael Dukakis, the nominee. We're going to talk to a couple of more people here. Come here for a minute. Bill Wilson, one of the state directors of the Jesse Jackson for President campaign. What did we learn?
Pardon me?
What did we learn?
Well, we've learned that there is room in the Democratic Party for everybody. Jesse Jackson has run a good campaign. He's represented many of the locked out and disenfranchised people. He's written the national agenda for the Democratic Party. He's called for unity. There is a sense of unity here. We're going to go forward.
Bill, will the Jackson delegates unite behind Michael Dukakis?
Well, the Jackson delegation...
We're going to talk, Bill, I'm going to have to talk to CBS here one moment. Hold on just one moment. We're going to switch to CBS.
Tell us the truth. Are you eating your heart out?
No, not at all. I think Mike Dukakis and Lloyd Bentsen are an excellent ticket. If I'm serious about all the things I say about wanting to help people in my state, that's what I should want, and that's what I do want.
Thank you very much, Governor Cuomo. Dan?
Leslie, let the record show Governor Cuomo said all the way through that he did not want the nomination to be president this year. He reminds us of that, and he's got a point. Now, what's happening at the moment in and around the podium, the arrangements are being made to make this nomination of Michael Dukakis unanimous with the plan that was put afoot and then affected tonight. California was the state that put Michael Dukakis over the top. California passed on the first turn around the roll call, and then they did the arithmetic so they could make California the state that actually did it for Michael Dukakis. Right now, the roll call resumes for those states that passed. And while that's going on, we're going to talk to one of the children in the Dukakis family, an adult now. John, age 29, is with us. John, thank you very much for being with us this evening. And tell us what your father's been talking about this evening.
Well, we've been talking a lot about what we've gone through. It's been 17 long months, and we are just so excited and thrilled today. It's been a great day, and we're celebrating and congratulating ourselves and looking forward to the other part of the marathon, which really is the sprint.
John, you read, you listen, you watch television. Is there any one thing that sticks in your mind that the American public doesn't know about your father, perhaps hasn't gotten through, that you think is really important that they understand and know about him?
Well, I think our job in the course of this campaign is to let people know that even though he doesn't pound tables and he doesn't cry on cue, this is a person who cares very deeply about this country and uses that feeling to move things in different ways. He has made a real difference in the lives of real people, and as a president, he's going to do exactly that. And we want to give him that opportunity and run a very strong and vigorous campaign in order to make people understand what the stakes are in this campaign.
John, when I asked your father not too long ago what he did for fun, he wanted to be asked the question, said he did, and then he said, well, you know, I work and I take walks. Give me some example. What's the last film he saw?
Well, not surprisingly, it was Moonstruck, which we took him to not too long ago so he could see his cousin give the best performance ever. And that was a great deal of fun. He sees movies. He takes a lot of pleasure in some of the simple things in life, the kinds of things that people who work for a living every day enjoy. And yes, cutting the grass is something that he enjoys, and believe me, I'm glad that he is resuming that after my doing it for many years.
And when he's able, I can bet I can remember those. We all do those days when we had to cut the grass. Sure. The last book he read for pleasure, you have any idea what it might have been?
No, but the days of reading Swedish land use planning are past. He's read a little bit of political history and has a VCR and has watched a little bit of history there as well.
Now, what part do you plan to take in this campaign? Has your father talked to you about what he wants the family to do? He's been a man who in the past has kept the family in the background a great deal.
Well, we didn't try to be in the background. My wife and I ran the Southern campaign for 10 months, running it right out of here in Atlanta. We plan to be very involved in the South again, but we also plan to spend a little bit of time in the state of California, which had a great honor tonight in putting us over the edge. We're going to hope to be campaigning all over this country and running the kind of 50-state campaign that's necessary in 1988 to put a Democrat back in the White House. So our family, you're going to see all of us. My 84-year-old grandmother, who is the embodiment of the American dream, my grandfather, my mother, all of my sisters, everybody named Dukakis, everybody who knows a Dukakis is going to be out there telling people how important this election is.
John Dukakis, thank you very much. Give our best to your father and mother.
I sure will. Thank you.
And our CBS News coverage of the Democratic Convention 1988 continues after these messages.
Today, General Motors is building the first completely new full-size pickup in this decade. Robot fixtures using laser eyes allow precise fitting of the parts to the body shell. Unique manufacturing methods allow functional assembly tolerances to be held to plus or minus ½ a millimeter, virtually a hair's breadth. Just one of the reasons we believe it is quite simply the best-built truck in the world. At GM, the vision is paying off.
Many financial opportunities offer protection, yet one stands out because it also offers potential for growth. The Traveler's Universal Life. Life insurance protection and tax-deferred growth opportunity. So you'll have a special kind of nest egg to secure the financial future of your family or business. Get the Traveler's Universal Life and watch your opportunities grow. The Travelers, you're better off under the umbrella.
They say men get better with age, and women just age. Oh, really?
Oil of Olay.
Men get character lines, women get wrinkles. Oh, really?
Created to penetrate quickly, lessen the look of lines.
Only men get sexier. Oh, really?
Created to fight dryness, silken, like your skin's youthful fluid.
I don't intend to grow old gracefully.
Oil of Olay.
I'm fighting it every step of the way. Really.
Okay, let's get moving. First, we'll need work from every department. Who's set up for that?
Our computers are tied in.
Mike, how long for graphics?
2-3 days max. Our computer can do it in a day.
It's yours. Joni, typesetting and printing?
About a week on overtime.
Now, hold on now. Who published this?
We did, on the computer.
Well, do it again. Last, we need presentation overheads. Any ideas?
I'm Harry Smith.
And I'm Kathleen Sullivan. Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, Oscar winner Olympia Dukakis.
And Andy Rooney's view of the delegates on CBS This Morning.
These are about 4 of the calmest people in a flood I've ever seen.
The Albany movement is no exception.
There's a debate in the United States as Mexico is digging out and fighting back. Red Square in the heart of Moscow.
Dan Rather. He's been there. He'll be there.
This is CBS.
Be Nicollet Island or the Lake Harriet Bandshell. Hi, I'm Bill Carlson. Celebrate summer with Channel 4 at this next Aquatennial event. Enjoy the Robbinsdale Community Band at Lake Harriet July 22nd during a Summer 4 celebration.
Good evening. It's a big night in Minneapolis, and we want to take a quick break in our convention coverage to give you at least a glimpse of the Minneapolis Aquatennial Torchlight Parade. The welcome rain clouds have moved on, leaving a pleasantly cool night for the parade. People began reserving sidewalk space along the route at 5 p.m. The Torchlight features 19 marching bands, a group from Disneyland, and Grand Marshal Kurt Carlson. I'm Mike Walter for Channel 4. Join us for more Torchlight Parade coverage on the 10 p.m. report.
Dukakis, Jackson, and the DFL are the players. Atlanta's the place. And tonight, the coverage will be live. I'm Colleen Needles. Join Skip Loescher and me for live coverage of the Democratic National Convention tonight on Channel 4.
The Twin Cities storm of the century. A year later. We'll tell you about it at 10.
CBS News coverage of Campaign 88 continues. From CBS News Convention Headquarters in Atlanta's Omni Arena, here again is Dan Rather.
With Eric Severide and Walter Cronkite. And what's happening here in the hall, Michael Dukakis has been nominated by the Democratic Party as its presidential nominee for 1988. There's just a little mop-up work on the vote as those states that passed are being put into the book. Let's go down to the podium, pick that up. And then what will follow that is Willie Brown, the Speaker of the California Legislature, will move that the nomination be by acclamation. These are just the last cleanup votes from the roll call. From states that passed so that California could be placed in position to be the state, as indeed it turned out to be, that put Michael Dukakis over the top.
Okay. Governor Mike Dukakis, 65.
Right.
And if you would let Les Aspin in the hall, we would count him for Mike Dukakis.
Now, Les Aspin, the congressman who is a delegate, along with a lot of other people, couldn't get in the hall. Locked out for security reasons and because the hall is so small, not much room in the hall for a night such as this. Now, when they finish this cleanup work with the last remaining votes, Jesse Jackson's National Campaign Chairman, Willie Brown, age 54 and Speaker of the California Assembly,
for a very important motion,
will make the motion. This is Jim Wright, the Speaker of the House of Representatives in Washington.
Chairman of the National Campaign for Jesse Jackson, Speaker of the California State Assembly, the Honorable Willie Brown.
Willie Brown is the longest-running speaker in state history of California. He broke Jesse Unruh's 7-year record in March, the late Jesse Unruh. He's been facing some local political trouble of his own, Willie Brown has, from a so-called gang of 5 California legislators challenging his position as Speaker.
Mr. Chairman, and my fellow Democrats, I just took a telephone call from that young man who stirred the hearts and souls of this convention last night when he recounted his journey of producing new people to the rolls, re-energizing the Democratic Party in pursuit of the nomination. In the spirit of the Jackson campaign, in the spirit of how Jesse Jackson has conducted himself so nobly and so appropriate, and in the interests of unity and in pursuit of the common goals of the Democratic Party, at his request, I am instructed to move to suspend the rules, to nominate by acclamation on behalf of that man who's gotten more votes than any other runner-up ever in the history of this party, 1,218, to nominate by acclamation the governor of the great state of Massachusetts, the Honorable Michael Dukakis, for the President of these United States.
Well, the dictionary defines acclamation as an overwhelming affirmative vote by shouting or applause rather than by ballot. And the Democratic Convention has just done it.
Do I hear a second? Question is on the motion to suspend the rules and nominate Governor Michael Dukakis by acclamation for the office of President of the United States. All who are in favor will say aye. Any opposed will say no. Oh, so obviously, 2/3 having voted in the affirmative, the motion is agreed to, the rules are suspended, and Governor Michael Dukakis is nominated by acclamation for the office of President of the United States.
Well, the convention is the voice, the bone, and the sinews of a political party, and sometimes it even nominates an Abraham Lincoln. Fletcher Knievel wrote that. This time, it's nominated Michael Dukakis. Leslie Stahl is on the floor with Olympia Dukakis, Michael Dukakis' cousin and the Oscar award-winning actress. Leslie?
Dan, I'm standing with Olympia Dukakis, who is in tears.
Well,
I said I'm standing with Olympia Dukakis, and you're in tears.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am in tears. I'm quite overwhelmed.
You know, you grew up with Michael Dukakis. You were children together. Could you ever have guessed?
No.
What was he like when you were kids playing around in the streets of Brookline?
He was my cousin. I mean, we shared holidays together. He and my other cousins, who are all boys, would go out and play football and ignore me. And now I'm the only one of our family here to witness this tonight. It's incredible. I'm so privileged.
What's it like down on the floor for you?
It's very emotional and very emotional.
Congratulations and thank you.
Congratulations to all of us.
Dan?
Leslie Stahl with a very proud cousin. Jesse Jackson last night talking about the immigrant background to the Dukakis family. Tremendous story. Family of father and mother moved here at early ages from Greece. His father went on to put himself through medical school, and Jesse Jackson said, or at least words to the effect, it doesn't matter what ships we came over on, we're all in the same boat now. Happy to say in this anchor booth boat with me is my old friend Eric Severide. Eric, we've talked a lot about conventions past. Let's talk about the campaign and the future and what happens. Okay, they're going to have this ticket, but what happens to it?
You know, for a moment while the young Dukakis was talking with you from his father's suite, I got the feeling the country's being asked to choose between families. We had the young Kennedy introducing Senator Kennedy. And this extraordinary assemblage of the Jackson family. They all look like beauty queens and fullbacks. You know, Alice Longworth once said to me that the Kennedys were the greatest political family since the Bonapartes. And now I wonder if they're going to have some competition with the Dukakis and this extraordinary Jackson assemblage. Is changing the face of politics. So now they've got to the point they've chosen the administrator over the evangelist and the soft-spoken man over the flamboyant man, cautious man, over the man who's sometimes rather reckless, the Reverend Jackson. You could almost say it's been a choice between two cultures here, the white against the black. Unfortunately, both very American, but still, unfortunately, very different. I think as far as the campaign goes, obviously it's going to be a troika. It's going to be Dukakis, Jackson, and Benson, the three running against three Republicans, Bush, whoever he picks for vice president, and President Reagan. The press is going to have 6 people they're going to have to keep track of. There are a lot of difficulties in this, and there'll be in this Democratic campaign. Mr. Jackson can be a loose cannon on the deck when he's so minded. And he's going to be pulled and hauled, I would think. He apparently has made the choice that he's going to be a political leader, not just a civil rights leader. But the real passionate civil rights people will be pulling him on one side, and the more cautious, pragmatic political people like friends like Burt Lance and others will be pulling him on the other. And he's got to decide as he goes along. But he has become here a kind of he's acquired a new status. He's almost like Hubert Humphrey was, a sort of the conscience of the country. The two need each other, the Jackson and Dukakis. At the moment, really the country knows Jackson better than it knows the nominee. But that's going to change. There's something in physics called the Heisenberg principle, that is, a phenomenon observed alters in relation to other phenomena. And so as the cameras and the reporters' pencils fashion on Dukakis, he's going to do more than swell. He will probably grow.
Only a few seconds left, Eric, but it occurs that Jesse Jackson has handled himself since his great moment last night. And tonight, when his name was placed in nomination, he has done what he said he would do. It's been a classy performance today, helping turn the spotlight on to Michael Dukakis.
That's where it's supposed to be, and now we'll see how Mr. Jackson can restrain himself.
Eric, good to have you with us. See you again tomorrow night. And our CBS News coverage of the nomination of Michael Dukakis for President of the United States will continue with the conversation with Walter Cronkite in a moment.
For the times when we're apart.
This is Colleen Needles with Skip Loescher at the Omni Coliseum in Atlanta, where Governor Michael Dukakis has just been nominated by acclamation, that at the insistence and recommendation of the Reverend Jesse Jackson.
And where this assemblage has suddenly become very calm and very quiet as Dionne Warwick has taken the stage. Most of the lights have gone down. They are swaying in unison with Dukakis signs, holding hands, arms around one another. And my guess is that's happening down in the Minnesota delegation, although, Pat Kessler, it's, from my vantage point, almost too dark to tell from here what is happening down there.
Skip, I am down here with the delegation. They're just finishing up. It looks like everyone is starting to get together here. One more time with Pat Forcia. What about tomorrow? What about tomorrow?
Well, first of all, I'm afraid to go to bed tonight for fear that when I wake up, I'll find out that none of this happened, that it'll be early in February, and that we hadn't even had precinct caucuses yet. I'm not going to worry about tomorrow till tomorrow morning.
Okay, you know, have you talked to the Jackson people yet? Have you talked
to Jackson? I mean, I've talked a lot with them the last few days.
I see one of the Jackson directors right here, Paul Wellstone. Come here. Paul Wellstone is one of the state directors of the Jackson campaign. Have you two guys talked tonight since this?
He came up.
What have you got to say to each other? What's the campaign going to be like?
It's going to be a campaign that's going to focus on the progressive issues. It's going to be a campaign that all of us are going to be proud of. It's going to be a campaign that's going to bring together the Dukakis campaign and the Jackson campaign together. We've had a wonderful campaign of mutual respect. I look forward to working with Pat and the Dukakis people, and I'd like to thank all the wonderful people that were also involved in Jesse Jackson's campaign.
So it's coming together?
Sure looks like it. It's been just a horrible night for George Bush, I think.
Skip and Colleen, I can't top that one. Going back up to you.
It's a great closing line. There's no question about it. And boy, if that isn't what friends are for, and if that isn't what they talked about and what Reverend Jackson talked about last night when he said the Democrats had to find the common ground, I don't know what is.
Alan Cox is standing by outside on the convention hall. Last time we checked, he was somewhere near the Wisconsin delegation. Alan, are you still there?
Colleen, I'm still here. You may have a little trouble seeing me for a minute or two here because of the crush of the crowds, the people swaying back and forth to the song by Dionne Warwick. I think that CBS News was in a station break when the Wisconsin delegation finally announced its delegate totals. But there was a little sidelight there, as I had mentioned before. About a quarter of the delegates voted for Jackson in the Wisconsin delegation, and the rest for Dukakis. There was one vote missing, and it turned out that Congressman Les Aspin from Wisconsin was locked out of the Omni, the convention center, when it was shut down at about, by now it's about 3 hours ago. The Atlanta fire marshal had said once you get up to 12,500 in that building, that's going to be it. And we reached that level pretty early tonight. As a matter of fact, earlier than last night. I think a lot of delegates were trying to get in early because of the hall being shut down last night. But the final strains of the song here, the Wisconsin delegation starting to head home, and we'll try to speak with some of them if time permits in the next few minutes. Colleen, Skip.
All right, thank you, Alan. Well, it has been quite a night here for both the Jackson and the Dukakis delegates, with Dukakis being nominated by acclamation at Jesse Jackson's insistence.
And the celebration is certainly not over, certainly not on the floor, and probably won't be over around Atlanta for some time. Let's go back to the Minnesota delegation. Pat Kessler.
People are starting to leave here, but everybody's still very excited. We're over in where most of the Jackson delegates sit. This is the only way I could get up. I want to get down a little bit so I can talk to a couple of them. Alfred, come here. I want you to talk to another Jackson delegate. Tell me what city you're from.
Minneapolis.
Are you ready to support Jackson? Pardon me, are you ready to support Dukakis? Where are you with the campaign right now?
Well, you know, last night, Jesse said that Dukakis' people came across on immigrant boats, and my folk came across in slave ships, but we're all in the same boat now. And that's the way I feel. I feel right now that Jesse's brought us to a place we've never been before. We have an opportunity greater than any we've had before. And since we're in the same boat, I'm ready to row for the shore.
Tell me what you're thinking about right now as you're leaving.
I'm thinking about my friends and compatriots who have put so much into this campaign, my family, my church, and all the people that Jesse Jackson has stirred and brought into this process, and for the hope that really there is for my kids in this whole thing. I'm really excited and I'm moved, and I feel blessed.
Alfred, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Nice talking to you. Skip and Colleen?
We all knew it was going to happen. Mike Dukakis, nominated by acclamation. And on the stage, well, there's something going on there that's pretty special, too.
Dionne Warwick. Let's listen in.
Oh, purple mountains, majesty. Above the fruited plain. Oh, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good
Dionne Warwick, wowing this crowd here at the Omni Coliseum. And just a few moments ago, we saw Mr. and Mrs. Walter Mondale swaying to the music.
And we, unfortunately, will have to wrap it up here. The 10 p.m. report is next, and we'll be back with a special report immediately following. Stay tuned.
WCCO Travel does it again. A complete Washington, D.C. vacation for only $299. Children 17 and under, only $189. This WCCO Travel ITA exclusive includes non-stop round-trip airfare, 3 nights at the world-famous Mayflower Hotel, and a tourmobile pass for sightseeing in our nation's capital. Longer stays available. Departures begin June 6th through September 9th, Mondays and Fridays. Call WCCO Travel at 921-3559.
Weather Center 4, keeping you ahead of the storm.